Hi guys, it's Stephanie back again with a video. I know it's been a little while because things are kind of crazy around here with all this quarantine, but I know that's the same for everybody. So anyway, I wanted to come on and do a quick book review about the last two books that I've read. I really enjoyed both of them, and so hopefully it'll be a good recommendation for some of you as well. One was A Good Neighborhood by Therese Anne Fowler. I read this as part of a book club that I'm part of. We just started using Book of the Month to choose a book to read together, some of my sorority sisters and I. And we read this book. So this is a book about two different families and them kind of coming together. So there is Valerie and her son Xavier. And next door to them moves in another family, and they're a little richer, a little better off, and basically you just think they're better than Valerie and Xavier. The husband of this other family, his name is Brad, is an HVAC man who is apparently pretty popular and well known around the city. He apparently has lots of commercials. So anyway, they're very well known around the area. And his wife, Julia, started out working for him. Came from kind of a rough background, had a daughter that she was trying to take care of as a single mom. Ended up working for Brad. And he became her daughter's stepfather. Her daughter's name is Juniper. So Brad is now Juniper's stepdad. Julia and Brad have another daughter together named Lily. And Lily and Juniper are really close, which I thought was really cute. And so this family moves in kind of behind Valerie and Xavier in this neighborhood called Oak Knoll. Valerie is African American who used to be married to a white man. And he ended up passing away, which they tell you the whole story of that, and is raising Xavier by herself. So Xavier is obviously mixed race, but they describe him as it kind of being hard to tell. Apparently he has black skin, but kind of blonde hair. He is a very talented musician. He's a senior in high school and is going to go to college on a very prominent music scholarship this next year. And he kind of starts to build a relationship and get to know Juniper, who's a junior in high school at a different school. She goes to a private school while Xavier goes to the public school. And that's all well and fine until there's a tree in their backyard that starts to die. And Valerie is a professor at the local college, and trees and that kind of thing are sort of her thing. So she's very passionate about it, gets very upset, starts looking into it, and it is apparently the fault of the homeowners and their builders that this tree is dying. When they were digging to put in their pool, apparently they mess up the roots, and now this tree is dying. So Valerie takes it upon herself to sue the family for damages because, like I said, this tree is very, very important to her. Not only does she love trees, but she also talks a lot about all the memories she has of that tree, of the swing hanging from it when her son... So obviously, Brad kind of throws a fit about it, about how unfair it is, and he's just trying to milk her. She's just trying to milk him for money because they can afford it and he's not going to pay it. And it becomes this big thing, especially as the teenagers are kind of just getting started with their relationship. And summer break rolls around, and to kind of make it easier to see each other without the awkwardness of their parents, Juniper does end up getting a job stocking shelves at the grocery store where Xavier already works. So they are able to see each other at work when they're not really supposed to be together at home. So a relationship kind of ensues from that, and well, the parents find out, and then just you'll have to read to find out what goes on. But it's quite an interesting story. I ended up really liking it. There's one aspect of it that I didn't completely love, but with the ending, I did think it was pretty well done, and almost as well done as it could have been. I'm not really sure how I would have changed the one piece I don't like. But I would definitely highly recommend it. I don't really rate books. I'm trying to get better at figuring out how to do that. As far as numerically. But I definitely would recommend that. The next book that I actually just finished about half an hour ago is this one. One for the Blackbird, One for the Crow by Olivia Hawker. This book took me a long time to read. It's thick, and I'm not the fastest reader. I think it had 479 pages. Like I said, I admit I'm not the fastest reader. So it took me a while. But I enjoyed that a lot too. To me, it was sort of an adult version of Little House on the Prairie, is how I've been explaining it to people. And again, I'm going to give spoilers on this book. So we have the Weber family and the Bemis family. And there is Nettie Mae and Substance Weber and their son Clyde. And then we have Ernest and Cora Bemis, and they have 4 kids. Beulah, Charles, Benjamin, and their little daughter Miranda, who's only about 4. So they live out on this prairie in, I want to say it's Wyoming, but I don't think it's super specified. But apparently they are each other's only neighbors for like 20 miles. The nearest town, that's called Paint Rock, is about 20 miles away. And so they've never really been super close, but they also never really, hated each other. They were just kind of coexisted because they were all each other had. And one day, it comes out that Substance Weber and Cora Bemis have been having an affair, basically. And Ernest finds them in the act and actually shoots Substance and kills him out of anger. He ends up going and turning himself in to the sheriff in Paint Rock and ending up in jail for 2 years. So now we have Cora, who has 4 children that she's trying to raise on her own. She does have Beulah, who is 13, so she can kind of help on the farm and everything, but she's still got her 4 children by herself. And then there's Nettie Mae, whose husband has just been killed. So it's just her and Clyde. Clyde is 16, and Substance had kind of already been teaching him the ways of the land and how to run everything. So what ends up happening is they basically have to help each other. Cora goes to Nettie Mae first because when Ernest goes to jail, it is getting close to wintertime. And she's a housewife. She was raising the kids. She really has no idea how to handle their farm. And because it's a prairie, they get a lot of snow that just piles up everywhere. And she's very scared for her children's lives. And ends up going and asking Clyde for help. Clyde, obliges them. He feels bad. He doesn't want to see these little kids starve. So he's trying to take care of his own farm because Nettie Mae, just like Cora, did the cooking and the sewing and everything. Never really did a lot on the farm. So she's also alone now, and Clyde's having to take care of that farm. So Clyde is trying to take care of both farms at once, and Beulah's a little bit of help, but again, she's a girl and she's 13. And she, they say, is very flighty, very dreamy and kind of scatterbrained. Nettie Mae calls her lazy and says she's not a very hard worker. So it's basically Clyde trying to take care of 2 farms at once. He ends up getting really sick and overworked. Nettie Mae gets upset because her son is about to die. And then we find out that she's lost 3 children previously, all very young, and Clyde lived to be older than any of the others. But she's scared of losing Clyde too, especially when she just also lost Substance. So she agrees to let Cora and the kids move in with them and live just off her farm, so that way Clyde's not trying to take care of two farms at one time. But obviously she is still not happy with Cora. She still blames Cora for everything that happened, for, taking up with another man's wife, is how she says it. Which kind of bothered me, to be honest, because obviously Cora should have done that. But there's not one part of her that ever blamed her husband for what he did, and his part in it, so that kind of bothered me too. So anyway, the Beamises move next door in with the Webbers, and all of them kind of live through the winter together, and it's kind of the story of that. It's the story of Cora being shy, and Cora, we find out, always hated the prairie. She came from St. Louis, so she came from a city, society, and moved to the prairie because Ernest wanted to, and he promised her, that she would get used to it. And she talks about that she never really had. She wants to move back to St. Louis after the winter, and have Ernest come find them in 2 years when he gets out of jail. So there's her being miserable, stuck under Nettie Mae's thumb, basically. There's Nettie Mae, who is stuck with this adulteress, basically, who caused her husband to cheat on her, that's now living with her. And then she doesn't like Beulah. Nettie Mae thinks Beulah she's a little creeped out by her. She thinks she's weird, almost witch-like. The way she's just always in a dreamlike state. Nothing ever really seems to bother her or anything. So we focus mainly on them making it through the winter. Clyde and Beulah end up kind of forging a relationship because they're the two oldest, and Beulah ends up helping Clyde the best she can on the farm. And Nettie Mae doesn't like that. Nettie Mae wants Clyde to go to town when he's ready to court, which really he is at 16 years old at this time, but she's kind of in denial of that because she doesn't want her baby to grow up. She wants him to go to town and find a proper wife. So she's very resistant to them spending time together, even if it is for work. That's lots of rules for them about not being together outside of her sight, even if it is to work. Her trying to keep them apart. And then one day, once spring has come and the Beamises move back to their house next door, there actually is a fire at Nettie Mae's house, and she has no idea how to put it out. She's never dealt with a chimney fire before. And Cora actually saw a couple when she lived in St. Louis. So she saw the smoke, came over, and helped put the fire out. Basically saved Nettie Mae's house. And once that happened, Nettie Mae realized that Cora wasn't as kind of mousy and timid as she had seen before. And that's kind of why Nettie Mae always hated Cora, how just submissive she was. But once Cora saved her house, she realized that, maybe there was something to this woman. And they started to forge a little bit of a friendship. And it's just, as I said, the continuation of that story and how the families live together and associate with each other. That's another book I would recommend. Like I said, it took me a while because it is long, and then the pages also aren't huge writing. But it's worth it. Again, I really liked that one too. So, hopefully with all this time stuck inside, maybe one of those sounded good to you and you'd be interested in reading them. Please leave me a message in the comments if you would like, telling me what you've been reading. Give me some suggestions of what to read, because I'm stuck inside too. And everybody just stay healthy, stay inside as much as you can. Like this video if you feel like it, subscribe if you would like, and I'll see you all next time.